speak righteousness, O congregation? Do you judge lightly, O ye sons of men? Yeah, in heart you work wickedness, yea, weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they are born, speaking lies. Their poisoning is like the poison of a serpent. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth her ear, which will not hearken to the voice of charmers, charming never ever so wisely. Break their teeth, O God. In their mouth break out the great teeth of the young lions. O great I am. Let them melt away as water which run continually. When he bendeth his bow to shoot his arrows, let them be as cut in pieces. As a snail which melteth, let every one of them pass away like an untimely birth of a woman, that they may not see the sun. Before your pots can feel the thorns, he shall take them away with a whirlwind, both living and in his wrath. The righteous shall rejoice when he seeth the vengeance. He shall wash his feet in the blood of the wicked, so that a man shall say, verily, there is reward for the righteous. Verily, he's a God that judges the earth. Glory to the Most High. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have sway over the thoughts of men's hearts, and let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish thou me and my seed, that we go not astray henceforth and forever. The book of Jubilees, chapter 12 and verse 20. Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Yes, yes, yes. And we're going to say praise, 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 praise to the Most High. Yes, to him who has no name. To him says to Moses, I am that I am. Tell them I am that I am have sent thee. So therefore we use the word I am. Because God is everything. He's all. He's all in all. The Most High, our Creator. Yes, although we have a lot of things coming out, we have you have so many so-called truths coming out. You have so many verifications of what is right and what is wrong, what is true and what is false. And many times it is for you to get your hands on a book and touch the thing with your hands. It's best to do that, to investigate it. This is why you see a lot of archaeologists, they read the books, but yet some get in the inclination where I have to go touch it. I have to go touch it compared to this word. I have to go touch it. You can tell me in this book all day long, but can I touch it? Can I see it? Can I know it? We can go touch the wagon wheels if we're allowed to that were buried in the Red Sea. You've read books. Some say it wasn't so, some said it was. But they're there, and the book said it was, so it is. If it smells like a skunk, it looks like a skunk, what is it? A skunk. They say Jerusalem is in America. They say Jerusalem, or the city of David, is in South Africa. They say it's in Kenya. But you can go and read the book and touch it and tell that. You can read it and touch it and read it. Do it for yourself. Find out for yourself if you want to. If you can't believe the testimonies of others, how they have touched and testified to you through video or whatever, pictures, do it for yourself. For most of these truths are there with no evidence at all. No evidence whatsoever. Yes, you can find out even the life of Isis if you read the codexes right there in Mexico. This is why I don't adhere to that book anymore. I don't adhere to that there's a lot of truths in the book, in the New Testament. But then the Old Testament, this is where they came from, so you don't need it. The Savior they testify of is a fictitious person. So I put it this way. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to come back again, but yet everybody before me delivered their people. Moses delivered Israel into the land of Canaan. God used him. All the judges of Israel came, and even Muhammad made a war. He was a deliverer, or should I say a Mashiach for those of the Muslim faith, in that he battled Christianity. Now, however that meets out, they were delivered at one time or another. But where did Isis deliver you? You talk a good talk, you walk a good low walk, but where did he deliver you? How did he deliver you? You put him up as God, but yet God says, there's no one beside me. There's no one beside me. God doesn't have sex with his creation. The angel tried it, but what happened? Giants came about. God cursed it. The fact is, you have to call a buck a buck. Although it seems heavy and hard, you've been taught this all your life. Where is the deliverance? Now, God is going to deliver. So he said he shall come with 10,000 of his anointing, according to the book of Enoch. But they threw the book of Enoch out. For thousands of years, they come against Africa to take it over. For thousands of years, Africa fought and won and lost and won and lost and fought. Battles after battles. But then finally the war ended with their victory, and they're rewriting history. How did Africa lose? Easy. They gave them Jesus. Yes, they did. There is no other. Angels have delivered different peoples, even the ones Elijah. It is said that Elisha, the S-H-A, he died and a man was buried next to him, and the anointing was so strong upon him that the man touched him, and the man popped up and everything healed in him, and he was alive. But it was for Elijah to go. We've really lost. We've lost it all before the Most High. And the fact is, according to Deuteronomy chapter 28, the curses part, we're still, as long as we continue to do those things that are contained, that are detrimental to the commandments, statutes, and ordinances of the Most High, that will still stand. You're never going to come out of it. They wasn't even out of it in the book of, should I say, Judges. They wasn't even out of it in David's time. Because as we shall see, Solomon in his own right started causing the people to sin. You got my listeners out there. But either way, his people to sin. And so we're in 1 Kings chapter 3. We're going to start chapter 3, verse 1 as you prepare. Yes. All the kings, you had some righteous kings. God gave them righteousness to where at that point in time that they were righteous. And he described them to them evil as they did evil. Yes. They were men just like any other man. But if we follow God, we will do no evil. Because we'll follow God in what he says. Really. You say, how can you listen to what I'm saying? If we follow God, we will do no evil. Some things we're prohibited to following God for, like sacrifices. We don't have any Levitical priest. We can't sacrifice in the high places either. especially these first world countries. Somebody gonna call the law on you or complain about you, and they're gonna come at you saying you're wrong. Although it might not be against the law, it's just morally, other than your neighbor's wife, it's morally wrong for you to just slaughter and let the blood run out from a goat or a lamb. This is what they'll do. Good, evil, and evil, good. Nevertheless, verse 3, and Solomon made an affinity with Pharaoh, king of Egypt. In other words, he made an affiliate. He was affiliated. He affiliated with the king of Egypt. Now, Pharaoh is the title. King is a title. What Pharaoh or Pharaoh king was it? See, this is where you had to deal with the translators. Affinity with Pharaoh, king of Egypt. What was his name? Who was he? Or Pharaoh of Egypt, or king of Egypt. It should have been said here. And took Pharaoh's daughter. Okay, that's not his name. His name is not Pharaoh. And brought her into the city of David until he made an end of building his own house. The same as David, he built his own house first. And then and the house of the I Am. And the wall of Jerusalem round about. Now this is where you see Jebus. The picture that you're going to notice behind me, Jebus. That is what Solomon built, the walls. The temple had been built once again, that was the Herod's temple. But the map doesn't do it any justice. Today's map and their explanation of where things are in accordance with those who were placed in that land to situate things in 1948. It says only the people sacrificed in high places. Why? Because there was no house built unto the name of the I Am unto those days. Now, there has to be a house. And so Solomon loved the I Am, walking in the statutes of David his father. Only he sacrificed burnt incense in the high places. Yes, God allows you to burn incense too. Not the holy incense, this is only for the priest. And the king went to Gibeon and sacrificed there. Gibeon, according to their map, is northeastward of Jerusalem. But you have to realize Judah was around the Dead Sea, and it was past the Dead Sea a little bit to where you see Arad. That is really that's Judah. Telerad was Jerusalem. That was the city of David. Jebus. Now, if the Arabs knew that part, or those who call themselves Arabs or Palestinians knew that, how much more that Jerusalem above was the Jerusalem? That's another Jerusalem. That's not the Jerusalem that's the city of David. That's different. There was a Jerusalem in the book of Jasher. He talked about the king of Jerusalem and all that. There was a Jerusalem there. But the city of David that they call Jerusalem now is Jerusalem. Or the city of David, or the temple area. Bethlehem was not too far from it. You can view Bethlehem from the king's balcony, or where it used to be. Yeah, you can. Now, for more information on that, go just search the real Jerusalem. That's all you got to do. Just put it in a search. You'll see a Rastafarian man, and he's going to show you scripture. He's going to show you all that stuff, and just what they did at that time. He's going to show you everything you need to know. And it says again, the king went to Gibeon to sacrifice there, for that was a great high place. For 1,000 burnt offerings did Solomon offer upon the altar. 5. In Gibeon, the I Am appeared to Solomon. Did he really appear to him, or was there an angel? There was a messenger from the I Am that appeared to him. You got to be careful when they say that I Am appeared to them. Then they say Jesus appeared to them. It's no wonder. I mean, it's still, you got devils that appear to people too. As an angel of light, or an angel of the Most High, come down to him as a lion vision, a lion dream, or a lying spirit. But this here was a spirit from the Most High to Solomon in a dream by night, and said, ask, what shall I give thee? And Solomon said, thou hast showed unto thy servant David my father great mercy, according as he walked before thee in truth and in righteousness, and in the upright of heart with thee, and thou hast kept for him his great kindness, that thou hast given him a son to sit on his throne, as it is this day. Yes, David was very, very sad for what he did to his servant, the Hittite. He was very sad, and that his heart became after God's own heart. He did those things that God would command him to do, is what he did. Now, Solomon, he said, you showed great kindness to my dad, okay, in verse 7. And now the I Am, my God, thou hast made thy servant king instead of David my father. But I am a little child. I know not how to go out or come in. No, he wasn't a child in that. In other words, he was just a young man. He was grown. Yes, he was. He's saying that I am not mature enough. I'm just a child. I'm before you. I'm a child. And thy servant is in the midst of thy people, which thou hast chosen, a great people that cannot be numbered or counted for multitude. Now, he was a young man, yes, a young man. Didn't know a lot about his dad. He knew his dad did right in his time that he knew of. He didn't know about his mother and his dad and and her husband. He didn't know about that probably. I don't think he did. Now, but he wasn't a child as we would understand a child. No, he was just a young man. He's a child in the midst of all these older people, is what he was saying. But he was a young man, probably 20, in his late teens, early 20s, somewhere in there. And thy servant is in the midst of thy people, which thou hast chosen, a great people that cannot be numbered nor counted for the multitude. In other words, we just a lot of folk. And give therefore thy servant an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this so great a people? People, we can be some deceitful folks. I mean, we can act up. We can put on an act. We can have done the crime and act like we have not done the crime. We can pretend, and we can lie. I mean, and it's convincing. And just take your actors. They're lying. Every movie you watch, they're lying. They're not the wife of that man. They're the wife of some other person. But they're portraying an actor. But we're talking about in real life, a murderer pretending like he didn't murder somebody, or someone who stole. If you find it, you can't find it on me, so I ain't did no crime. I see, these are the things that frustrate even the enforcement entities in the world. The liars. No man wants to go to jail for his crimes. No man wants to be deleted for his crimes. But when one does, and when one is, the other man fears even the more not to do the crime. See, this is the problem with the crimes situation in many countries. The laws are stupid. They're no good. All the laws are for us to enrich the rich man. That's it. It's no good. Just nothing. It doesn't correct nothing. It doesn't. The thing is with those who are to be deleted for crimes that against humanity, like murder or rape or something like that, these crimes are cause for deletion. And when another man looks and he's been contemplating on doing a certain same kind of crime, He's going to think twice. No, I don't want to die today. I don't want to die tomorrow. I don't want to die. So he's going to leave it alone. So Solomon is saying, hey, how can I judge against such greater people? I mean, and the speech pleased the I am that Solomon had asked this. It's hard sometimes. You know, they have different scenarios, you know, how to watch the way you look down and to the side, how to detect a lying person, but can that actually tell that they're lying? You have good con men. I mean, very good con men. You had one coming years ago that conned people out of millions of dollars in the housing situation. Got away with it. He didn't get no jail time, nothing. Nothing happened. People didn't even, most of them didn't even get their money back. Put it that way. And God said unto him, because thou hast asked this thing, and hast not asked for thyself long life, neither hast asked riches for thyself, nor asked the life of thine enemies, but hast asked thy understanding to discern judgment. In other words, how can I subscribe a sentence to something I cannot tell because of these lying folks, these lying criminals, whether they be rich or poor? See, that's one thing, and that's one thing I give out to Burkina Faso as it grows. In other words, to get to the judges, talk to the judges and tell them no man is above the law. In so many words is what he was saying. You have to judge, no matter whether they're your friend or foe, look like you or whatever. Whatever the crime and whatever the sentence that is ascribed to that crime, it has to be that way. And this is the only way you can earn respect of the judicial system and the enforcement system is fairness. I care less about equal to you. I don't have to be equal to you. Nah. Fairness. To be fair. To be fair. But then the deadly do-rights of the world are the ones who put under. Righteousness is frowned upon. Fairness. Nah, you don't. And then they sing out a song, Only the Good Die Young. Yes, they put out that song. And it makes people frown upon people that are fair. That's all it means, fair. Righteousness, fair. The law, God's law, statutes, commandments, fairness. That's it. Why? That's why is God, what is love? Being fair. That's all it is. Fairness entails so many other things. Accountability, fairness. In other words, seeing things for what it is, calling it how the evidence presents itself, and not being taken with how a person look or their kinship to you. Now, and when that is stood upon, people will fear. I guarantee you the crime scene will die down to about to a low number. And you have a lot of prison industrial complex places will starve. They have to go to something else though. But right now it's big business. And they want to use a certain people that don't look like them to help that business. Now, it came to pass in the third day after I was delivered. Okay, let me see. He said, I have given thee a wise and understanding heart. See, God can just give that right to you. So that there was none like thee before thee, neither after thee shall arise any like unto thee. And he was talking about, he wanted to understand judgment, to understand the people. This is what God is saying. This is the wisdom God has given to him. There are many types of wisdom. There's wisdom in, construction. There's wisdom in electronics. There's wisdom in medical things. There's wisdom, in many things. It's just the application of knowledge. Period. Now, and I have also given thee that which thou hast not asked, both riches and honor. Now this is where Solomon is getting ready to be tested, right here. Woe unto you when you are all of a sudden, or you are made rich. So he said, so that there shall not be any among the kings like unto thee all thy days. Now, I think Mansa Musa was richer than Solomon was. Solomon, he said kings. What did he say right here? Among the kings. The kings of who? The kings of Israel is what he's saying. In all thy day, unto thee all thy days, the kings around him. And if thou wilt walk in my ways to keep my statutes and my commandments as David thy father did walk, in other words, as you understood him, then I will lengthen thy days. In other words, he gave him, there was a condition. How do you love God? You will keep his commandments, statutes, ordinances, and laws. He said, now if you do this, I will lengthen your days, Solomon. And Solomon awoke, and behold, it was a dream. And he came to Jerusalem and stood before the ark of the covenant of the I Am, and offered up burnt offerings and offered peace offerings, and made a feast to all his servants. Then came there two women that were harlots. In other words, they were 304s, or should I say paid men assistants, unto the king, and stood before him. And the one woman said, O my king, I and this woman dwell in one house, and I was delivered of a child with her in the house. And it came to pass the third day after I was delivered that this woman was delivered also, and we were together, and there was no stranger with us in the house. So we say, we two in the house. And this woman, child, died in the night. Excuse me. Because she overlaid it. You know, she rolled over and smothered the child. And she rose at midnight and took my son from beside me while thine handmaid slept, and laid it in her bosom, and laid her dead child upon my bosom. And when I arose in the morning to give my child suck, behold, it was dead. But when I had considered in the morning, behold, it was not my son, which I did bear. How in the world are you going to fool a woman about her own child? That was the dumbest thing. But Solomon did not know. This is the lies that criminals will tell. You have an honest one. Which one can you discern between the criminal? What is the evidence? There was no evidence that Solomon could put his hands on at this time. And it says that, and the other woman said, nay, but the living is my son, and the dead is thy son. And this said, no, but the dead is thy son, and the living is my son. Thus they spake before the king. Then the king said, the one that saith, this is my son that liveth, and thy son is dead. And the others say, nay, but thy son is the dead, and my son is the living. And the king said, bring me a sword. Simple as it is. And they brought a sword before the king, and the king said, divide the living child in two, and give half to the one and the other half to the other. And the woman whose living child was unto the king, for her bowels yearned for her son, said, oh, my king, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. But the other said, let it be, neither mine. She just jealous and covetous. This is what it is. She was a covetous woman, because she had neglected that her son that was with her, or her child that was in the bed with her, knowing that child probably did not even look like her, didn't smell like her, or nothing. And all Israel heard the judgment which the king had judged, and they feared the king, for they saw the wisdom that was in him to do judgment. In other words, Solomon's mind was quickened by the I Am into simplistic judgment. Complicated. Simplicity is very complicated, to tell you the truth. In this world that we have today, very complicated. Simplicity in judgment. Very complicated, because even the young, when you listen to a young or an old person, how they would try to appeal to your ignorant side, and how they would use every tactic in the book, from anger to tantrums and everything else, even grown-ups before judges, as a child would before its father or its mother, and that the mother and father have to judge what to do with this child, or has the child actually done this deed, or to get even the truth out of the child. Grown-ups are the same way. So even as a parent, you have to ask God to give you wisdom. Yes, you can say, well, I don't know whether I trust my child, but the fact is I know my child can be wrong. Give me the wisdom. My child tells me something that I know that this child is telling the truth. Just as Solomon did. There's tests. There are different things that God will even quicken your mind with. Yes. Now, and this is awesome that God has given this wisdom, and he gives this wisdom to everyone. Even there's wisdom in the law, commandments, statutes, and ordinances of the Most High. For it says it makes wise the simple. Even the law of the Most High, he said, my word is like a hammer that breaks up rock. Yes, and he can teach you how to be very proficient at his word. And with that, peace.
Walk with me.